So ano po yung mga types of media natin na pinag-usapan ng last meeting? We have the printed, tama po, printed media and the online media, tama po? Printed media, we have, ano yung mga examples natin ng printed media? Po? We have the most classic type of printed media is the newspaper, no? The magazine, newspaper, no? Mga journals, books, no? How about the broadcast media? We have the radio and the television. And the last one would be yung online media. We have yung mga types of online media natin, distribution of content ng online media natin. We have tawag doon yung ginagawa natin sa online classes, yung webinar, Google Meet, yung ano pa ba yun, yung podcast, ano pa ba? Ha? Ayun na po, yung infographics, then we have the e-books, no? So yun po yung mga yan. So ngayon, pag-uusapan natin kung paano ba natin i-consume or digest yung mga media na yan via its code, conventions, and languages of media. If you can recall yung model natin ng communication, no? Di ba meron tayong sender, encoding, then yung tawag doon, yung medium, then decoding sa yung receiver. Ano? Meron tayong encoding, meron tayong decoding. Tama po ba? That when you provide an information, no, when you communicate or send a message, it is enveloped, no? It is packed into a certain code that the receiver must be able to decode. So for example, if I'm communicating with using verbal communication and non-verbal communication, I am giving certain codes, cues, no? Yung po yung ngayon na iniintindi mo ngayon, dinidecode mo yung ano yung ibig sabihin. Tama po ba? Yung mga simple words ko, meron niyang meaning, no? Meron niyang code na dapat you will be able to decode on your own. So let's for example, I'm coding my language in the terms of Chinese or Mandarin or Nihongo, no? Or Korean. No? Yung iba, mas common kayo, yung iba, baka maintindihan nyo kung Korean. No? Pero pag mas common ng Chinese, baka mahirapan kayo. No? That's what I mean by the importance of knowing the code and the convention and language of media. So ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin din naman kasi ng convention? Sino rito yung naiintindihan yung term na convention? Pag sinabi natin journals convention, physics convention, chemistry convention, journalism convention, tawag doon, student convention, Tagalog or Filipino convention. Ano yung naiisip nyo tungkol doon? Pag sinabi natin convention. Pag sinabi natin convention, ano yung iniisip nyo pinag-uusapan sa mga ganun? Meron silang pino-point out at meron silang pinagkakasunduan. Tama po ba? For example, there's a convention in physics na pinag-usapan sila ng, I think, last year, pinag-usapan nila kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng kilogram. No, ano daw ba ang ibig sabihin ng kilogram? Dati kasi, ang convention ng kilogram is that there is a specific element, pure element na merong na-measured as 1 kilogram at ito yung pinagbabasihan natin ng 1 kilogram. No? That there is a copy of that original na given sa iba't ibang bansa so that every country knows or has this specific weight that will determine the kilogram. So ngayon, sa physics, hindi na po yun yung basihan ng kilogram. Kasi pwedeng mawala, pwedeng masira, etc. So, ang basihan daw na ngayon dapat ng kilogram is mathematical terms. Yun na po ang basihan daw dapat ng kilogram. Kung sakasakaling mawala yung actual na kilogram, yung piraso ng bakal na yun, yung kilogram, pwede pa po natin ma-measure ang isang kilogram using arithmetic terms. No? Using mathematical terms. At ito yung pinagkasunduan sa P6 Convention. Yung sa Standard Instrument or Standard Measurements Convention. Na pinagkakasunduan nila isang issue o isang bagay. So ito rin po yung ibig sabihin natin sa Media Convention. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng kulay? Ano yung universal meaning ng code na nare-represent sa color, sa shape, sa scenery, sa setting, sa rendition ng photography. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng mga yan? That's what we mean by convention. For example, we all believe that the color pink is the color of masculinity. Most of you will say, hindi, pang babae, kaya nga mahilig ko sa pink eh. Yung iba sabihin na, kaya nga babae ako kasi mahilig ako sa pink. Hindi po yun. Kaya nga po mahilig doon kasi opposite yun. Kasi kung mahilig ka sa pink at iniisip ko na babae yung pink, hindi ka po straight. Tomboy ka po. Kaya po mas attractive ang lalaki na naka-pink kapag dress, lalo na yung medyo rose pink yung suit niya. Yan ay kung maputi ka, maganda yung complexion mo, tapos naka-rose pink ka, lalo na dark pink, nasa gunting na, kapag yung medyo dark yung complexion mo. Pero kung maganda yung complexion mo, napakaganda tingnan sa'yo ng rose pink, lalo na lalaki ka. Parang you are attracting the opposite sex. Pag blue naman or red, it is more feminine. Males are attracted to that color. Kaya meron tayong kanta ni Eldemerge na Lady in Red. Kasi the female looks sexy in red. So, masculine po, feminine po yun, kasi po yung lalaki attracted to. Mas attracted na lalaki sa red at ang babae attracted sa pink. That is the usual convention. That is the usual norm. Nag-guess po ba? And I'm saying na dapat na laging ganon. Pero, universally accepted na ganon po yun kasi mas nakakarami, ganon yung gusto. Hindi po sinabi na lagi pong ganon. Mayroong mga situation na yung babae, mas gusto yung red, mas gusto yung ibang color, green, for example, kaysa sa pink or sa red. Depende ngayon sa personality ng tao. Pero, commonly, karaniwan lang na yun nga yung idea to that color. Yung idea din ng color blue, for example, understood yan sa lahat ng color blue, lalo yung medyo maputla yung pagka-blue, parang sad, parang openness, parang kalawakan kung bagang datingan, parang calm, something calm, something sad, something calm, something open. That's why it is the color of Facebook. Kasi it represents being open, being able to be seen by others. Parang so, doon po tayo papasok sa codes and conventional languages of media. Hindi ko pa nakakabit. Okay, sandali lang po. So our objectives is you're going to define codes, conventions, and languages of media. You're going to identify the codes and conventions of media that will be presented. And you're going to use those codes and conventions of media in presenting a certain issue. So bandang huli, meron kayong gagawin na presentation ng certain media gamit yung iba't ibang codes or elements ng media. Okay? So, are you familiar to this logo? So, para bang pag tinanong, parang tinanong mo na kung kasama ang tubig. Parang gano'n. Understood na yan, Wala siguro tao dito na hindi nakikilala itong logo na to. Okay? So, what does this logo mean to you? What information do you get from the symbol? How is the symbol presented in terms of color, the font, and the design? What if the color is changed into black? How would that affect the information that you are receiving from the symbol? Now, doon muna tayo sa number 1. What information do you get from the symbol? You are familiar already with Facebook, and therefore you already know once you see this logo, it is related to the social network na Facebook. Okay? So that is automatic as an information. This simple logo, this simple code represents as a whole system, a whole system of social networking, in the form of Facebook. Tama po ba? Hindi lang po simpleng kumpanya. Automatic yan, nakalink na kagad yan yung may-ari ng Facebook. Automatic nakalink din yan sa memory mo yung thread mo, yung newsfeed mo, yung mga friends mo sa Facebook, yung profile mo, yung profile pic mo. Automatic yan, papasok agad sa isip mo lahat ng information na yun just by looking at the logo. Tama po ba? One symbol, one code representing a lot of information. Okay? How about the font, the color, the design? It is simplistic in nature. The design is simplistic in nature. Dalawa nga lang ang color scheme natin. We have the blue and the white. Representing simplicity. Even the font is simple, basic. Tama po ba? It means that yung usability nito is user-friendly. Yung paggamit mo ng system na yan is easy as eating yung regular kong paboritong pagkain. Yung normal mo ng paghinga, parang ganun lang. Ganun kadali lang. It also represents calmness. It also represents yung lawak ng sakop nitong impormasyon na to. Yung pagiging bluish, yung pagiging blue ng isang bagay represents yung lawak. For example, yung alam mo, blue, dagat. Alam mo, blue, langit. Guess po ba? It represents yung openness of Facebook to you as a subscriber of Facebook. When you utilize Facebook, you know that it is generally related to freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of saying as much as you want, as long as you're not trampling on others' freedom. Parang ganun yung datingan yan. Na you are free in Facebook whatever you want to do unless you are hurting other people. Yun yung datingan sa color pa lang. Alam mo na kagad na ganun yung datingan ng Facebook. So what if we change the color to black? Anong datingan yan sa inyo pag naging color black yung logo ng Facebook? Parang bland, parang something serious, tama po ba? Parang something sorrowful, lalo na kung gray yan. Kung gray ang color niyan, parang lalo mas malungkot, parang matamlay, hindi lively yung color. That's why the color is blue, para mas maraming taong mahikayat na gumamit ng Facebook. Okay? So, simple logo, simple code, a lot of information pwede na makuha. Even the shape of the letter, hindi siya straight na letter F, simple letter F, or yung pagka-F niya is may curve. Hindi siya always straight line, indicating that it's not always straight. Because po ba? Straight lines represent strictness, yung adherence to the rule. Pero if you are using curved lines, curved shapes, you are presenting yourself as more malleable. Yung madali, sumusunod ka, kumbaga. Hindi yung basta rule ka lang, automatic is, yun na lang yun, wala na iba. Hindi ka stricto. When you use a straight line, or mostly your logo or code is presented in a straight line, it is presented as being stricto, being derecho, being straight to the point. Pero if you presented it in a more parang curvy way, you are saying to your audience that you are malleable, that you are changing, that you are okay for changes, that you will adapt, that therefore you are more pleasant to the user. So, para mas lalo ka ulit makatrack ng mga users. Yun po yun. In just one logo, you have a lot of information, a lot of data that you can process in just one media logo. Okay? So, The information that you get looking at the symbol is the message of the symbol itself. No? Those information, those codes, no, represent a certain convention. No? Represent a certain meaning that most of us agrees upon. No? Yung pinaka-norm, no, ng society about those symbols, those information that we get from those symbols. Okay? Language pertains to the technical and symbolic ingredients or codes and conventions that media and information professionals may select and use this to communicate ideas, information, and knowledge. Just like using the color, the font, the shape of Facebook logo, you are trying to convey certain information, certain meaning to that actual shape, to that actual font, to that actual color. No? Oops, sorry. So media language are the codes, convention, formats, symbols. So basically, everything in detail about the code, about the symbol. No? Yun po yun. So messages are the information sent from a source to a receiver. The code that is decoded. No, ito na po yung message natin. So yung message na Facebook is open, Facebook is free. No? Nandurong nyo sa color blue, nandurong nyo sa shape ng logo at ng font ng logo. So by understanding the representation of the color, by understanding the representation of the shapes and the font style, you automatically decode the coding of the logo as a basic media. No? The communication, the message of Facebook that is saying that it is free, it is open, and it's malawak, no? Is presented in a way that is coded sa mga symbols, no? Like color and the font. And as you as the consumer, the one that is seeing the logo, you are decoding it, no, via our own conventions. No, yung sarili nating paniniwala kung ano yung nire-represent ng kulay blue at ano yung nire-represent ng ganong lines at ganong shapes at ganong fonts. Nag-guess po ba? No? So yun na naman po yun. So pinapahaba ko lang actually, pero yun lang naman talaga yun. Coding then decoding. Of the coding of the sender and the decoding of the receiver. So we decode, no? Yung coding yun yung symbol, no? Yun yung literal na codes. Yung decoding yun yung ginagawa nyo as the consumer and as the receiver. No? In terms of elements of media, we have the symbols. No? Number one is symbols, and we have second is equipment, and the other one is yung characters. No? So punta muna tayo dun sa symbolic codes. Okay? So pakisabi pag malapit na po mag 30 seconds. So, symbolic codes, no? Symbolic codes, obvious na po yan. Pag sinabi mo symbolic codes, yung mismo symbol, no? Represent ko sila ng symbol, no? So, they are social in nature. Such codes exist beyond the media product themselves, but can be interpreted in similar ways in the everyday life of the viewer. So, depende dun sa convention, depende dun sa culture, depende dun sa society ng receiver kung paano niya i-decode yung coding. Okay, number one example ng code is setting. Okay? So, for example, in photography, when you see a picture of a Starbucks, no? Pag nakakita ka ng picture ng Starbucks, ano automatic ang nasa isip mo kagad? No? Coffee shop, no? Kape, sa mga cake, no? Mga desserts, no? Doon mo yung mga confections, kung yung makikita yun. Pumapasok na kagad sa yung idea na something that, a place that you can relax. No, that you can indulge yourself. Tama po ba? No? So when I say a picture of a school, no? This setting, the school setting, you already know that it is somewhat kind of an academic institution, something that is serious in terms of learning. No? That you need to be quiet, no? So that you cannot disturb or you avoid disturbing others that are studying. If you go to a picture of a church, alam mo kagad that something sacred, something holy. Lalo na kung ang picture is yung sacred sacrament. Alam yung itsura ng sacred sacrament, yung cross siya na parang may araw, tapos mayroon parang sa gitna, parang bilog. So yun po. Alam mo kaagad na it represents something sacred, something holy that must not be touched or not parang vandalized, hindi mo pwede i-vandalize. So, the setting is the time, the place, the venue, or the narrative that can be, yung mga setting, for example, yung panahon ng pagpalubog ng araw, for example, yung angat ng araw, medyo pagpalubog ng araw, medyo parang romantic, angat pa yung araw, parang romantic, parang gano'n. Tanghaling tapat, parang gusto mong manuntok sa init. Alam mo kaganda, hindi gano'n maganda yung feeling kapag tanghaling tapat. So may kanya-kanyang convention yung bawat setting na ma-observe natin. Okay? Next symbolic code is the mise-en-scene. So, French po yan, French po yan. So, hindi po mise-en-scene po yan, hindi po mise-en-scene. Ang basa po yan, mise-en-scene. Mise-en-scene. Okay? So, mga French kasi medyo maakit talaga mga French. So, yung spelling nila at yung bigkas nila, minsan malayo talaga sa bawat salita. So, mise-en-scene is a representation of every element in a certain scenery. In this case, for example, ito yung picture na ito, itong image na ito. What can you observe in the image? And what can you extract from your observation? So, kamusta yung color ng image? Is it very colorful or blank?
Very colorful.
Very colorful. Signs indicating something like celebration. Tama po? So, pag maraming kulay, it indicates happiness, joy, celebration. Pero, yung mukha niya parang mukha ba yan ng buhay o mukha ng patay? Mukha ng patay. So, what do you think they are celebrating? The Day of the Dead, So the Day of the Dead. So sa Mexico, sa Spanya, they celebrate the Day of the Dead differently than us. Yes, nagsisinti sila ng kandila, nagsisinda sila nagbibigay sila ng liwanag para daw yung mga may mga kaluluwa, may makita yung tamang daan, matuntun sila, But in terms of celebration, talagang pong literal po ng party po sa kanila ang Day of the Dead. So they wear masks, they wear costumes that reflect what they perceive as what would the dead would look like, the ghost would look like. So para hindi mailang daw yung mga espiritu ng mga patay, they should look like Musuda as the dead. Para yung mga patay nakikipagparty sa kanila. Okay? So, kasi nga, we all believe that there is life after death. That dying is a part of life. It's just another stage of life. That's why they celebrate it. It's like having birth. Parang kung pinanganak sa susunod mo, buhay. Ganun. So they celebrate it in the form of parang Mardi Gras, parang party. Parang yung yung Mascara Festival, parang gano'n. Talagang merong street dancing, merong parada, merong mga, parang yung sa Rio de Janeiro, yung colorful na mga ibon, yung sa Brazil, parang gano'n, Gano'n ang datingan ng Day of the Dead ng mga Spanish at ng mga Mexican. So sa atin lang kasi medyo parang, yes, may takutan, may kasama doon kasi napatay. So something that is both feared and expected. Expected mo pero natatakot ka pa rin. Kasi unknown talaga, unknown. Pero we try to cover our fear with joy by celebrating the dead. So dito, by just looking at that image, you already know basically the culture of the people. No? What are they celebrating and why are they celebrating for? No? So, color pa lang, damit pa lang, no? They are there to party. They are there to celebrate the dead. No? So, this is a representation of the mise-en-scene that is the French is saying. Okay? So, every photo, parang dito is pag pinicture ko to, no? Pag pinicture ko to, nakakuha ko yung mga picture nyo na hindi nyo inaasahan na picture ng buhay, for example, no? Ang datingan, napakaseryoso nyo sa buhay. No? Para bang, parang nag-aaral kayo ng nakakatakot na subject na simpleng MIL lang, no? Yung mga itsura nyo, para bang namatayan na kayo. No? Parang meron kayo, parang ako yung nakaburol dito na dito, no? So, gano'n ang datingan pag tinignan ko kayo, pag kinuha kayo ng still photo, no? So, yung buong scenery ng classroom natin mukhang merong namatay. Tapos, ano nyo pa, palda nyo pa, no? No? So, I'm not din sa anong daw, hindi ako sa ganong costume, hindi mo, no? Kasi nga, mas maganda kung blue o red yung color ng uniform talaga sa isang estudyante. Parang medyo lively yun. Sa room pa lang medyo lively na. Pero, syempre, gusto nila maging serious. Serious sa senior high school. So, itim ang ginagawa nila. No? Okay, next symbol, acting. No? So, simple dropping of tears. No? Simple dropping of tears could represent joy or could represent remorse or sadness. No? So, yung simple acting po ninyo, yung paghaba ng puso, kapag ilalapitan ka ng jowa mo, no? Nalapit yung jowa mo, biglang hahaba yung puso mo kasi hindi ka pala kinausap mo maghapon. Tapos, umabot ng isang linggo kasi hindi mo siya kinausap na rin. Kung isang linggo na kayo hindi nag-uusap. Hindi tinatamaan, diba? O walang jowa. Walang jowa. Kaya kasi siguro walang jowa kasi wala akong nakausap. No? So yun po yun. Kaya mangiusap na kayo, no? Minsan kailangan sa pilitan eh. Okay? So yun, acting, yung mismong behavior mo, no? Yung mismong behavior ng actors, ng mga characters sa scene, represents a certain meaning. No? Okay? So nandurong po yan. Another symbol would be yung color. So different colors say different things. Yellow for joy, red for vigor. No? Red is for vigor, yung enthusiasm. No? Pink is more on parang white, more on cleanliness, more on parang neatness. That's what we mean by clean. Pink, no? Blue nga, representation ng openness, na pwede rin sadness, kasi nga ocean deep. Ocean deep. Alam ko kung pamilya sa kanta ng ocean deep na yan. Madalas kung pinapatugtog nung high school ako kasi pag nabasted yun. Nag-i-emo ocean deep. No? So dramatization, malungkot ka na nga, pinapatugtog mo pa malungkot. So gusto mo lang pala maging malungkot, huwag ka naman ligaw, magpatugtog ka naman ng malungkot. No? So, ganun po, ocean deep, no? Kasi blue. So, the deep blue. So, yung emotion mo, malalim. So, it also represents, blue also represents sadness. No? But it also represents openness, just like the sky, no? The sky being blue and the sea being openly blue. No? So, the openness of everything, that is also represented by blue. Okay? So there's a reason kung bakit karamihan ng mga restaurant ay kulay red. Para lalo kang kumain. So imagine mo kung kulay blue yung kainan, parang matamlay, kumain. Okay, so ganun po. So, kung yellow, pwede pa, no? Pwede rin yung yellow sa pagkain, no? Yellow, red, yan yung mga magandang combination sa mga restaurant. Yellow, red, no? Pwede rin pink, konting pink, pero mostly yellow sa red. Okay? Technical codes. So, aside from symbolic codes, nandito tayo din sa technical codes, yung mga equipments, yung paggamit ng mga equipments, yung actual hardware, yung actual hardware, katulad ng camera, no? Ilaw, for example, no? Yan. So yan, one of the technical codes is camera work, no? So mas maganda, for example, you're going to watch an action movie. Let's say for example, number one action movie is Taken and John Wick. John Wick, dalawang action movie yan. Yung Taken, makikita mo yung camera movement, aakyat si may pangalan ng actor na yun, Liam Neeson, aakyat si Liam Neeson sa bakod. Meron siyang scene na paakyat pa lang siya, tapos magka-cut, may scene siya na nasa itaas na siya, pababa, tapos cut ulit, may scene siya na nasa baba na. That is uninterrupted scene using cinematography, using camera work. You, as the viewer, kinukumpleto mo yung image na siya ay umakyat, tapos bumaba. Baga, nag-over the backward. Pero in reality, siya ay nasa baba lang, pumost lang siya doon, tapos pumost lang siya sa taas at pumost siya sa baba. Kasi nga, hindi na niya kaya. Gusto nasa 70 na tayo lalaki na yun. Pero, sa continuity ng film, using cinematography, nagmumukha siyang lively action. Tapos may gumagalaw-galaw pa yung camera, gumagalaw-galaw, indicating na gumagalaw yung mismong camera pertaining to being lively and active. Pero in reality, straight lang siya gumagalaw. So hindi siya talaga mabilis, hindi rin siya mabagal. Tama lang yung galaw niya. Nagbumukha lang mabilis because of the movement of the camera. Also, yung kay John Wick, for example, continuous shot. Makikita mo habang nagsasaksakan yung dalawang character, si Jamik sa yung kontrabida, nakita mo habang nasa taas sila, tapos habang gumugulo na sila sa side, dire-diretso yung flow ng movement ng camera. So yung between the two scenes, ang mas nakakapagod is yung putol-putol kesa dun sa tuloy-tuloy. Kasi in the taken scene, since putol-putol yan, your imagination had to work for that, so that you can understand what is happening. While in the scenes, kapag continuous yung camera work, your imagination does not have to work hard for you to realize what is happening. Nag-guess ko ba? That's why nauuso ngayon sa mga pelikula yung mga continuous scene. Nag-uusap lang, nag-aaway lang, for example, sa room, nasa bahay, mag-asawa, for example, sa scene, nag-aaway mag-asawa, or pamilya, or mag-ina. Nakita mo yung camera sa karamen ngayon, nagpa-follow na yung camera from one room to another. Hindi na po nagka-cut from sa sala, tapos papunta sa kwarto. Hindi na po sila magka-cut na gano'n. Usually, ginagawa nila ng isang scene para magkaroon ng smooth flow ng conversation at imagery dun sa viewer. Okay? So, kasi po, pag ikaw as a viewer, less stressful yun sa brain mo, sa imagination mo, trying to understand what is happening in the movie. And mas maganda yun in terms of cinematography. Because it gives a lot of detail, a lot of information. So, magkaiba yung portrait kaysa sa landscape. Sa landscape, it gives further details about the subject. And the surroundings would become also the subject. Hindi lang yung mismo nasa center, mismo nasa surrounding, yung ganda ng paligid will become also the subject of the discussion, of the information that you are extracting, you are decoding from the image. That's why sometimes, depending on the situation, depending kung talagang bumalang yung crush mo yung gusto mo nakikita, puro portrait. Puro portrait. Or yung natawag yung parang box. Yung naka-square photos, square photos. Kasi nga, gusto mo nakita mo, wala kang pa sa paligid. Tapos, pag gusto mo makita pati yung paligid mo, ginagawa mo landscape or panorama. Okay? Kasi mas maraming detail na makikita mo. Okay? So, yun po yung camera work. Then, lighting. Lighting. So, syempre, pag medyo gloomy ang lighting, katulad nito, kaya may sinasabi ko sa inyo, pag pinicture ko kayo, para ba meron tayong patay, Hindi classic, hindi patay. Kasi nga, walang lighting. May problema pa kayo ganyan? Walang sindi? Walang sindi talaga? Meron naman pati sinisindi. Mainit. So, yun nga. So, lighting represents a certain information also, certain code and decoding. No? So, dark and gloomy representation of lighting represents sadness, seriousness. No? Lalo na kung horror pinapalot mo. Pag namatay na ilaw, nanginginig ka namin sa sulok. Nanganginig ka na sa sulok. Tama po ba? No? Kung may kumot ka, no? Yung anak ko pag nakita niyo dumiling, automatic na nakakumot na. No? Hintay lang niya, gumana, magsigawan sa kanya tatanggalin. No? Kasi alam niya tapos na. No? So, tayo alam kaagad natin kung ano yung rendition kapag maliwanag, ang sinyari. For example, kailangan mo ma-project yung maraming detail. No? Kasi, for example, action. So, kailangan mo maraming detail. So, kukuha mo siya in a very strong lighting environment para lahat ng detail ng action nandoon. No? At hindi na kailangan mag-isip pa yung viewer kung ano yung nangyayari sa paligid. Yung dark scenery, maganda yan sa mga mystery. Sa tawag doon sa horror. Kasi there is lacking details and that is part of the mystery and the horror. Yung lacking of details. Hindi mo alam kung ano yung naduroon, tapos kailangan mo pa talaga mag-focus ang mata mo para makinig mo lang yung anino ng demonyo, anino ng kapitbahay mo, no? Parang gano'n, ng dismosa ng kaibigan, mga gano'n, ano? So, yun. No? Yun po yung ibig sabihin po ng paggamit ng lighting. No? Papasok na din yung, siyempre yung magic. No? Sino dito yung nanood ng mga Conjuring sa kanong Insidious series ni James Wan? No? Entry pa lang, yung tugtog pa lang sa paglagay ng title, ikinabutan ka na. Not unless kung nanonood ka sa laptop o nanonood ka sa yung cam recording na makikita mo may tumatawid pang tao kasi may nagsisigaw, boom, gumagano pa. No? Kung papanoorin mo yun sa sine or kung meron kang magandang audio system sa bahay habang pinapanood mo yan, sinasabi ko sa inyo, title pala, tatayin na yung balahibo mo. Kikilabutan ka na hanggang sa lubog ng spine. Lalo na kung naka-aircon ka, no? May dumadaan pa na biglahan sa lubog mo. Tapos, dumadabog yung pag meron may nag-slam na pinto, parang naman mo sa katawan mo na meron malabog. No? So, sa action, yung barilan, yung mga pagsabog ng bomba, ng mga granada, etc., yung mga baril na dumadaan doon sa actors, parang na-experience mo din because of the sound. No? So, yung iba kasi sinasabi, hindi raw nakakatakot ang pelikula. No? Diyos ko, ako malalaking tao Tanda-tanda mo kinikilabutan pa rin ako It's not about just fear. No? It's not about being in the movie. You are engrossing yourself in the story. No? Yun po yung idea dyan No? If you don't want to be entertained by the movies, huwag mo na lang panoorin. Huwag mo na lang panoorin, di ba? Kung ayaw mo makinig sa hindi mo gusto yung kanta, ba't ka mo kung hindi mo naman talaga pinapakinggan yung istorya? No? Sometimes it's in the lyrics, sometimes it's in the beat. Gusto mo yung beat, wala kang pake sa lyrics, walang problema doon. Yung chong-ching-chong-ching ng Korea. No? Hindi mo naintindihan yung lyrics, pero gusto mo yung beat. No? So you don't mind the lyrics, you like the beat of the music. So you like the music itself. No? So, the beat of the music pertains to joy and you want to feel joyful. So, papakinggan mo. No? Pwede naman, dahil gusto mo maintindihan yung lyrics, dahil naintindihan mo yung lyrics, at alam mo yung sabi ng lyrics is something about a certain emotion that you want to experience right now. So, you want to listen to that music so that you can have that emotion. You want to feel that emotion. No? Yun yung sinasabi ko, senti ka na nga, senti pa yung papakinggan mo. Dahil lalo ka naglulugmok mo sa isang sulok. No? So, kung ikaw ay senti, na para mas mabawas-bawasan yung pagkasenti mo, makinig ka na mas magandang upbeat na music para mabawas-bawasan yun. O kaya, kung message mo yung barkada, magmurang kayo sa messenger, laitan kayo doon. Alam mo yan, ganun yung mga barkada ngayon, laitan. Okay? Sa laro ng mga lalaki, minsan, oy, buko, oy, gago. Kain tayo. Hindi na pala, kakain na pala. Kaya yan lang kain ko sa labas, yung rampa. No? Okay? So, pero sila lang yung kakaintindihan mo. So, sometimes yung pag may mga anak ka, nakikita mo sa kanila. So, nung palang namin hindi ganun, talagang, oy, pre, kahit tayo ganun. Madalang yung moral, yung making, parang terms, hindi kami nagaganon dati. So, ngayon lang nauso yung bakit, ako ba't tayo sumunod. No? Next, written codes. No? The last one of the elements of media is written codes. The actual letters, symbols, no? Of a given media. For example, there's a difference here. No? Dito kita-kita, no? And dito kita-kita. Sa newspaper, nakita mo yung font styling, medyo formal. No? Tapos yung malaking letter represents yung priority na news. No? Sa newspaper, yung malaki yung letter, ito yung priority na heading, na headline. No? Na dapat makita sa front page para mainggan nyo yung reader na basahin yung buong newspaper. At karamihan ng mga storya doon sa front page, hindi naman buo. Nakalagay dyan for C-page, C-page ganyan sa baba. No? So nakalagay dyan konting heading, tapos, or headline, tapos konting storya, then C-page ganyan. So maraming istorya na nasa front page pero hindi kompleto. You have to open the magazine, the newspaper, para makita mo yung buong storya. No? So may mga malalaki, naka-bold, may mga small letters, representing basic information. No? Dito, this is a title of a movie. Dito pa lang, parang nag-guess mo na kagad kung yung storya, yung plot ng movie. Tama po ba? So ang title ng movie is Blood. Tapos, literal po kulay pula, no? At may parang pang tumutulo sa edges ng blood, ng lettering. Tapos, doon din, The Last Vampire. No? Kahit nga yung The Last Vampire na yan, kahit wala yan, ito pa lang, may idea ka na dapat eh. The story is about blood itself. And ano ba yung mga creatures na addict sa dugo? So, mga vampires, ganun na kagad. Alam mo na kami, meron ka ng idea sa plot na kung sino yung mga characters at ano yung mga characters. No? So, by knowing what a certain font, the shape of the font, the style of the font, the size of the font, you automatically know, what is the information that is trying to convey. Okay? Sino rito yung nakita yung billboard ng Morbius ba yun? Sa social media, pinakita yung billboard ng Morbius, yung bagong pelikula ngayon ng Marvel. Morbius ba pangalan? Yung vampira? Yung kay Jared Leto? Jared Leto nga ba yun? Hindi yata. Basta yung vampire movie sa Marvel, napalabas ngayon sa mga sinihan. Meron siyang billboard na sa araw, wala kang makikita kundi mga spike. Mga kahoy lang. Alam niyo yung pagvampira, di ba? Sa mga lumang kultura, para mapatay mo daw yung vampira, kailangan tusukin mo ng kahoy sa dibdib, sa puso. Pero kahit sino naman siguro mamamatay ka. No? Kung malabauna ng malaking 2x2 na kahoy sa dibdib mo, natulang mamamatay ka, no? So yun lang daw ang paraan para mamatay ang vampira. So syempre, yun, mga vampira. So yung billboard niya, puro mga kahoy lang na nakatusok mo sa mismong billboard. Pero pagdating ng gabi, merong ilaw na nag-reflect dun sa mga kahoy na yun. Tapos nakasulat yung, makikita mo yung anino, yun nga, ang anino ng mga kahoy is Morbius, yung title ng pelikula. Tapos yung pangalan mismo ng character. No? So yung paggamit niya ng iba't ibang mechanism like lighting, saka yung idea na siyempre walang vampira sa araw. Hindi mo makikita yung logo sa araw kasi vampira siya. No? So, sa araw, wala. Ang makita mo lang spikes. No? Pero pagdating na gabi, saka mo siya makita lumilito yung pangalan ng movie. Kasi nga, vampira nga. Sa gabi lang, nakikita. No? So, that is one way of showing the complete codes. No? Yung font, yung lighting, yung cinematography, photography, no? Doon po makikita yan. ginamit niya lahat ng possible na coding. No? Ganun kagaling yung advertiser ng pelikula. Kaso yung pelikula mismo, mukhang magpa-plot. Hindi ganun maganda daw yung para bibigyan ng pelikula. Okay? So again, written codes, what font, typeface, use in this picture, what message does the style of font signify, and the simple use of different fonts or typefaces indicate different meaning. Okay? So according to Robert Young, conventions are the accepted ways. As we already mentioned, pag sinabi mo convention, ito po yung norm. Ito po yung pagkakaintindi natin, yung alam natin na ibig sabihin ng bawat symbol, ng bawat code. Okay? So, in terms of written codes, we have the form conventions. For written codes, we have the form convention. Yung form, just like yung mga font size, yung font size, yung pagkadapat ng mga letters, yung arrangement ng mga fonts. Kapag formal yan, for example, in academic books, in newspaper, okay, so next naman yung story convention on how the text portrays a certain story. Diba, karamihan ng mga nobela, hindi naman talaga, pag nobela, salib na, for example, is yung graphical novel, iba yung graphical novel katulad ng mga mangas. Pag sinabi mong codes, ito yung mga novel na puro text lang. For example, Harry Potter. Pag binasa mo yun, puro text lang yan. You have to use your imagination to think or to imagine the characters, the setting, everything in the scenery. Okay? So, because it is portrayed as text. So, novel portrays stories, scenery, settings, characters. They are being visualized by the text. So you, as the reader of the text, will have to imagine. That's why reading stories at a very young age will promote or will develop your sense of imagery, which is a very crucial thing sa learning. Ang hirap mag-aral if you cannot imagine what you're supposed to learn. For example, sa math, you are going to count numbers. If you cannot imagine those numbers in your head, if you cannot imagine yourself counting in your head, mahihirapan kayo sa math. Tama po ba? So yun lang naman po yun. So, the way that the written codes portray the story is what we call the story convention. Story convention, yung mga tropes. Okay? Dito naman mapasok yung mga tropes, yung mga genre. Yung genre conventions. Yung drama. Is it drama? Is it action? For example, may mga sa mga magazines, sa mga comics, makikita mo yung letters doon sa mga, pagkat yung term natin doon sa mga balloons, kung saan nakalagay yung mga text, yung communication nila. Mayroon minsan may mga letters na parang natutunaw na letters. Nakakita na ba kayo sa comics nun? Or sa manga na gano'n? Yung parang, yung dialogue niya is nakasulat in parang liquid letters na parang bang lumulutang na mumu. Parang ulap yung letters. Parang bang hindi straight lines, kundi para siyang liquid, parang sulat, parang tinta na sinulat sa basang papel. Parang ganun yung sura ng mga letters. Indicating that font, that dialogue is being portrayed by someone who's someone that is parang yung boses niya is ethereal. Sabi na ethereal, something parang holy, something sacred, parang ganun. Ganun yung visualization ng genre ng ganung klase ng font. Okay? And that is the last part of our lesson for today. Any more questions, clarifications po? Ako po ba yung last subject niyo for this day? Kaya pala parang nakita ko. automotive nga lang, tatamay pa kayo ito eh.
Thank you.
Okay, so yan, kung wala ng question natin, po. Patulog po ulit dito. Ano yung pin?
Dito, kung katawag sila sa akin, saka mag-tingin sila sa dito. Sila sa kaalis. Diba, ano ba? Dito punta kami. Ito, magka nagkakaroon na sila din. Magmuna ka na.